also go instruct them not to view any articles or social media in regards to this during the course of that. And I'll follow up every day to make sure they follow those instructions. So I'm going to deny this motion.
All right. At some point, we have to trust our jurors, right? We've seen that in all the cases here on Court TV where they talk to the jurors before court, they talk to them afterwards, give them instructions. And sometimes if things happen, the jurors let the court know. If we don't trust our jurors, the whole system just blows up. So I tend to trust them until there's a reason not to trust a particular jury. All right, let's bring back in our guests, Joseph Krosky Jr., Lauren Bellucci. Let's talk about the jury. And this was interesting that I noticed. During some of the arguments on one of the other issues, I was kind of reading between the lines with Kevin Reddington, Lindsay Clancy's attorney, and he seemed to think that he's going to have a difficult time explaining or convincing men about postpartum depression in this case. And I don't know if it breaks down that way, Joe. I don't know if this breaks down by gender. I think it may break down by, are you a parent, are you not a parent, what your specific experiences are, because I think all of us generally believe that postpartum depression or postpartum issues do exist. To what extent, might be debatable, and that's what this case will be about for this woman. But at the end of the day, I don't think it breaks down by gender. Do you?
I don't think it necessarily breaks down by gender. I think what you're going to look for, or what I would look for, is an educated juror, because this is going to be a science-driven trial, an expert-driven trial, and you want jurors that are going to be able to divorce themselves from the visceral reactions, the emotion of it, because this case is going to be just replete with sympathy for those three young victims, for the husband, and to a certain extent for the defendant herself. It might not break down by gender, but I think men might have a much more difficult time relating to Miss Clancy and what she went through. They might tend to believe that under no circumstance would they ever harm their child. But then when you look at it the other way, women might split the difference as well. Some might say, look, I can relate. I went through this, or I know how it feels. And others might say, there's nothing that would ever make me harm a child. So I think the voir dire of these potential jurors is really going to be able to flesh this out. And I think jurors that have had experiences with this will probably be stricken for cause, because it will probably just hit too close to home.
Well, I think the real factor here, Lauren, is going to be moms. That's one. Men don't give birth to children, right? We just don't. We don't. So that's not going to be an issue for the men. But for the women, some may be mothers, some may not be mothers. But the ones who are mothers are the ones who could more closely somehow relate their own personal experiences to all of this, whether they did or did not experience this, their feelings about their children, judging someone else who has given birth. To me, that's the most important factor here that has to be flushed out during voir dire is who's a mother, who's not a mother, and what was your experience as a mother like? And that may be a huge factor in how a particular juror may judge Lindsay Clancy.
Vinny, I completely agree. I think, though, with the risk of that, for me, I want more men than females on that jury. And for the simple fact of women can sometimes be harder on other women. Also, one woman's pregnancy journey is not like the rest. And I fear that some might hold that against her because they didn't have any signs or symptoms or anything like postpartum in their life. I particularly would want more men because they don't connect with that. And not only that, if we take it out of the gender roles, she had such a cocktail of medication that was rapidly and decreased, increased, and then just stopped. More that were put on after that. It was just a cocktail, in my opinion, that had a huge part of the whole thing, and it completely made the perfect storm for a complete horrific catastrophe to happen.
During voir dire, Joe, how deep will either the judge or the lawyers be able to go into people's experiences and their thoughts and whether they're parents and get into their minds? Where is there a line that they can't cross, that they're going too far, making it too personal?
So I've tried cases in front of Judge Sullivan, and let me say this: I think your viewers will really enjoy him. He is straight down the middle. He works hard, very intelligent, knows the law, and he's predictable in that he does his very level best to follow the law. When you impanel in front of him, and again, this trial is a little bit unique, but there are questions that are standard that are going to be asked. Then there's questions that both sides have requested, and he will allow them to ask some of them. And based on those answers, he will allow some follow-up. So, look, I don't think he's going to try to extract every little detail of their personal life, but certainly if someone indicates that they had a pregnancy that was rough or certain things went on, he's going to allow follow-up from the attorneys because he's going to want to make sure that that juror is not prejudicial to either side. So, and these are both experienced attorneys, so they know how to do it, and they know how to do it within the bounds of our rules up here in Massachusetts. But there certainly will be some leeway for them to follow up based on answers they give to the first set of questions that have been approved.
Yeah, this is not going to be an easy case for either side, prosecution, defense, and especially the jurors who have to figure it all out. Guests are staying with us. When we come back, we're going to take a deeper dive into the facts of the case. And like I was telling you, this is a brutal